friends. My name is Tanya. You are watching She's At It Again. Today we're going to be making a dry mix for a pork shoulder. And then we're going to cook that off, and I'm going to show you the process. First of all, I'm going to show you how to make the dry rub to go on it. We're going to make an overage of that, so we'll use part of that to put on this pork shoulder, and I'm going to show you how to save some electricity in your house too. For those of you who have been watching for a long time, you know what I'm about to say. But for those who have not seen our channel before, stay tuned and you'll see how to keep from heating your house up in the summertime and still get a hot meal on the table. So let's go make some Bayou Blast to put on a pork shoulder. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is show you my spice drawer. This is underneath my stovetop here. I have my spoons ready. This is my spices. So that's what I'm going to be grabbing from that and the cabinet up here. So I'm going to set my camera right there so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Now, this has a purpose for it. I'm going to use this pork shoulder for something else. That'll be in a different video, the next one that I make. So we're going to start out with 2.5 tablespoons of paprika. You can use smoked paprika if you want to. You can use Hungarian paprika, whatever you have that you like. So 2.5 tablespoons of that. We're going to go with 2 tablespoons of salt. Get my big salt cellar out here. That's just a little much for me to dig for with it being kind of above my head level. Okay, what did I say? 2 tablespoons. This is just Himalayan pink salt. Now remember, this is just a dry rub. This is not something we're going to put just directly in a dish to season it up. 2 tablespoons of garlic powder. I have a mixture of garlic powder and granulated garlic in here because you know what? I figured out here a while back, I like granulated garlic better than I like garlic powder because garlic powder just flies everywhere. I can just tilt this bottle a little bit and just take the lid off and it just does a kind of a poof of garlic powder, like a cloud of it. All right, a tablespoon of fresh ground black pepper. I had to grind this right before I turned the camera on because all I have is whole peppercorns in my pepper grinder. Okay, a tablespoon of that. I need a tablespoon of onion powder. I love the smell of onion powder. It smells like onion rings to me. Tablespoon of cayenne. Now, if you're not a fan of spicy things, this is not going to overload it with spice, but it also calls for more cayenne when we put it on this in this dry rub. So just know that. And you don't have to use that much cayenne if you don't want that much cayenne. So 1 tablespoon of cayenne pepper. A tablespoon of dried oregano. And I think we decided the other day, this is Mediterranean oregano. There is Mexican and there's Mediterranean, which is from Greece, I think. I think I have my information correct. But I learned something new recently, so just thought I'd share that with you. And a tablespoon of dried thyme. Now these are all organic spices, herbs and stuff, and I get them from my local Good Measure or natural food store here because I don't want to spend way too much money on a jar this small. I think the jars are cute, but I'll save the jars, all right, but I'd rather just go get what I need and refill the jars that I have. All right, we're going to give this a stir. Now this is going to be the beginning of our mix for our dry rub. So now I have my bowl. This is what I'm going to put my dry rub mixture in, and then I'll put my pork shoulder in this and flip it around, coat it real good before we start cooking it. So this is our mixture, and this is called Bayou Blast. You can buy Bayou Blast in the store. Well, some places you can, or you used to could, but this is the homemade version. And remember, this doesn't have any preservatives in it, no MSG, no flavor enhancers, nothing like that. So everything in here is perfectly good for you. A little piece of thyme there that looked more like a stick. I don't like those pieces. All right, so what we're going to do in this bowl is turn the Bayou Blast into our dry rub mix. And this is just for like pulled pork barbecue sandwiches. You could also use this on chicken, pork chops, just a whole lot of things. It's really good to have. This makes about, let's see, this makes close to 2/3 of a cup. So if you want to put it in a little jar to save it for other dishes, that'd be great. All right, so to this bowl, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of this mixture of our Bayou Blast. Set that aside. I'm also going to need another tablespoon of salt. This is a big pork roast, so don't panic on the salt amount. If you don't need this much salt or you don't need any salt, leave it out. Just use a substitute, whatever you use. It's not for everybody, but remember, as I told somebody recently, salt is not the bad guy here. Don't let it be portrayed as evil. Salt is beneficial. It has a lot of minerals in it, a lot of things that are really, really necessary for keeping our bodies hydrated. So it's not the bad guy. I need another teaspoon of our cayenne pepper. And again, if you don't want the cayenne in there, leave it out. Also need a tablespoon of sugar, and just like the salt is not the bad guy, sugar is. Kinda. The processed sugar is. So I'm going to use coconut sugar. This is Madhava brand, and I'm a huge fan of it. So I'm looking over here at my recipe. I need a tablespoon of sugar, and that's coconut sugar. I wish you could smell this. This is like smelling a dessert. Now, if you ever open a bag of just white, bleached, refined sugar, it really doesn't have much of a smell to it. This does. Coconut sugar is like off the charts. Absolutely. It is just delightful to smell. Okay, so this is our mixture that we're going to be putting on our pork shoulder. Simple mixture. Now let's go over to the other side of the kitchen. We're going to apply this. This is our pork shoulder. So I'm just going to cut this package open, put it in the bowl, and I don't want anybody coming at me for not washing this piece of meat. I did a video recently. It went sort of viral. I mean, as small as my channel is, that's about as viral as you get. People were just all just up in arms about me not washing this chicken. So finally, after several, what seemed like hundreds of negative comments about how nasty I am and about how I'm not clean and I don't wash my stuff and all that, I just threw out the question, which is cleaner, tap water? Or which is a better way of cleaning, tap water or to cook in a 425-degree oven for 40 minutes? So nobody ever even came back with an answer. So I am taking this straight out of the package, and the package will go in the trash. And I'm putting this directly in the bowl. And I don't know why I feel like I need to wash my hands, but I feel like I need to wash my hands now. I'm just fixing to touch that piece of pork again. Maybe the fact that I touched the outside of the package. That's probably dirtier than the pork itself. All right, let me turn this around a bit so you can see it. We're going to get this on all sides. We're going to completely coat it with this dry mixture. If you want to put this in a big giant zip top bag and kind of toss this around, you can do that. But I just find that these stainless mixing bowls work great for stuff like this. I don't know what I'd do without stainless mixing bowls. Notice I took my rings off too. I don't want this in my rings. Okay. So we pretty much had this coated on all sides. And I'm going to clean my hands up really good, and then I'm going to show you what to do with it next. Okay, if you don't get anything else out of this video, if you don't want to use a seasoning mix, if you don't eat pork, if you don't like my channel, just get this one thing out of this video. Okay, coming up. All right, so I'm going to use the slow cooker. Sometimes I used one of those big roasters, but this roast isn't really that big, so I'm going to go ahead and just use this little slow cooker. Look, my handle's already come off. I've replaced the top lid. The plastic lid broke off, so I went to the hardware store and bought some of these dilly-doolies. I don't even know what they're called. This is some kind of, yeah, it's a piece of hardware. So anyway, I look like I really know what I was doing at the hardware store, but really and truly, I'm just fixing a slow cooker lid. So I love this slow cooker because I can set it on warm and I just can't get rid of it because it still works. I do so many things in this slow cooker. Even though I have a brand new one that's huge, this is the perfect size for this roast. So I don't want to set it on the very bottom of the slow cooker. I don't want it to sit in all that grease. I want it to kind of have this drier atmosphere than being sitting in fat. So I have a little rack that I think, well, I didn't even try this. No, it's not going to fit in there. Okay, so I normally would use this if the pan were big enough, but I just started to show you this alternative, so this is what I'll be doing. Take whatever is stainless steel in your house. Don't use stainless steel with a little plastic piece on it, or don't use stainless steel that has a little rubber guard on it or something. Find something that's stainless steel. If you have to resort to using a handful of dinner forks, use that. Something to keep it from sitting on the bottom of the slow cooker. So I have these, I probably have 6 or 7 of these. So I'm going to put them in there, go in different directions like this. And that is going to be what my pork roast rests on. So this is what it looks like. I'm just going to pick it up and I'm going to put it, I think I want to put it fat side down. It doesn't really matter in all honesty. Ugh. Okay, that's bigger than I thought it was. Okay, bowl came out pretty clean. It doesn't have a whole lot left in there. So I won't need this. I thought I was going to be so smart using this, but you can see how far that goes. All right, put the lid on it. This is what I want you to get out of this. I'm putting this on the front porch. If you don't have a front porch that's a safe area, if you have to share a porch with somebody and you think, oh, somebody's going to take this thing, trust me, they're not going to take it far. And if you think an animal's going to come along and eat your roast out of this, no. It's going to be hot. You're fixing to turn this thing on. We're going to cook this for about 4 to 6 hours. I'll check it in a few hours and see what it's like. I'll show you at the end of the process what it looks like. But bugs are not going to get in this. Animals are not going to get this. And somebody's dumb enough to come up on your porch and take your food. Yeah, that's a pretty sad day. Put it in the garage and plug it in if you need to. I've got a sunroom I can put it in, but I don't want to plug it in out there. My doggies are out there and it's a comfortable temperature. I have a fan going, but I'm going to be working out in the backyard. Thus, I have the work clothes on because I'm re-landscaping the backyard. Now you know. This is why I'm so tired. So I'm going to put this on the front porch. I don't think anybody's going to bother. Nobody's ever bothered anything on my front porch. It's going to keep your air conditioner from fighting the heat and the heat fighting the air conditioner. This is a heat source. Who would go and turn a heater on in the middle of a room? This is basically a heater. In the wintertime, this is a great idea for the kitchen, any area, a common area that's going to keep it warm. But in the summertime, plug these things in outside if you can. Any appliance that you can pick up, plug in outside, do it. Okay, a few hours, I'll come back and I'll show you what this looks like. And it should be done enough to where it just falls apart, but that dry rub's going to stick to parts of it. It's going to give it so much flavor, so this is exciting. Plus, we're going to use this for something else in the next video, I'm telling you. Okay, I'll show you what this looks like in a bit. Try to get this lid off and show you what this looks like now. This has been in there for about 9 hours. It's coming apart in little pieces like that. I'm gonna let it cook for just probably a couple more hours. I still have it setting on high, but I'm gonna let it cook a couple more hours just because that top part right there, just right in the very center, isn't as falling apart-ish as I want it to be. So we'll leave a couple more hours and then I'll turn it off and I'll let it cool overnight. We are back. This is the next day. I was too exhausted to probably talk last night, so I didn't make a video of bringing it inside or all that. It's just a matter of bringing it in off the porch with 2 oven mitts, and my husband had to open the door for me because I don't have handles on my slow cooker. So anyway, this is just the insert out of it. This has been sitting overnight in the sunroom, just coming to room temperature. All I'm going to do at this point is take the meat off this. It comes apart in big sections like this, but then all I have to do is kind of scrunch it together. Look how beautiful that is. All I have to do is scrunch it together and it'll kind of tear in shreds. Now I'm picking off the little pieces of fat. Beef fat's one thing, pork fat is another. I just don't want any more of it in there than I need. But a little bit of it, which it cooked in, is going to make it nice and juicy and tender. But again, I'm going to be doing something with this pork shoulder that I'll share with you in another video, and it's something so fun. I've done it for the teachers at my daughter's school when she was in, I think, junior high, and they were so excited. It's such a fun party idea. It's a good serving idea because you can do it so much ahead of time. So anyway, just pulling those pieces of fat. Actually, I put this bowl right here put that in instead of putting it back down in there. Plus it's got this big bone in the center of it, and I'll get that out too. So basically you have your Bayou Blast, you add a few more things to it, you rub it on a pork shoulder, pork loin, pork whatever you have, or chicken, and put it in the slow cooker. Now this cooked, let's see, we took it out of the slow cooker. It was after I got out of the shower last night. It was probably close to 9 o'clock, so this cooked about 11 hours on high. But this is about a 7.5 pound roast. A lot of it depends on how big the piece of meat is, how much surface area you have, how far it is to the center of the piece of meat, if there's a bone in it, yada, 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 and all that. But I will say this, after several hours, I took the lid and kind of tilted it to the side to where some of the moisture could get out of this, because it just retains so much moisture in a slow cooker. That's kind of the key to a slow cooker, is that it retains the moisture. There's a good seal around the edge with the liquid from the condensation. But when I let a little bit of that moisture out, it seemed to crisp up a little bit, as opposed to just being wet on the outside. So that was one of the differences in the way I ended up cooking as opposed to the way I started cooking. But it was on high the entire time. And again, when I turned it off, I literally grabbed 2 oven mitts. We went out on the porch, picked it up. My husband opened the door. I brought it in, put it in the sunroom, walked off. So it just cooled overnight. But this would be very well received if I just served it like this. But that's not what I'm going to do. Look at this giant bone. I have a friend who tells me his dog loves bones. I got to make sure none of the spices and stuff are on it, but I'll get that cleaned up and give to him for his doggy. Okay, so you get an idea of what we're doing, and this is simply a dry rub mix. You're going to rub them. This would actually be good with ribs. Put them in the oven and cook them. Yeah, that would be something fantastic. So I will put the recipe in the description as always. And thanks for watching. And we look forward to sharing something again with you real soon. And if I'd like to whet your appetite, stay tuned because we're going to use this, possibly the next video, to make something in another video that I think you'll find pretty intriguing, especially for the summertime months. So thanks for watching, and we look forward to sharing something again with you real soon. Bye, guys.